She's Annabelle Hasselbeck. We're in the PNC Bank studio. AB, I'm happy. Last time I hosted the show with you, you were remote, you were virtual, out in Seattle. Welcome back to the East Coast. Thanks for coming into the studio.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. It's very different online, so this is cool to be face-to-face and do this in person.
Happy to have you back in Boston after your summer out in Seattle, too. I mean, what better timing for you to get back and be in studio than the matchup we got this Sunday. We'll get into the Patriots and Seahawks later on into the show. As always, go through what's trending. We'll touch on some Thursday night football as well between the Bills and the Dolphins. One of AB's best friends and one of the best players on this BC football team that's ranked number 24 in the country, Drew Kendall. He stopped by. We interview him as well. We got all that and more right here on the chat. AB, let's get right into what's trending. The latest for the Red Sox, for a guy like Craig Breslow that came in to revamp their farm system. Best news they could hear, they now have the number one prospect in all of Major League Baseball. Roman Anthony is now ranked number one by Baseball America after Junior Caminero was called up by the Rays to the Bigs. So big news for Roman Anthony and big news for the Sox.
Yeah, it's exciting for Red Sox fans. It's fun to follow a player from the beginning of his career all the way up until they're really in the big leagues and doing the thing. And so I had a friend who was all about the Orioles, all about it. So when Jackson Holliday was this number one prospect, he was freaking out. And so it's just cool to see how fan bases can really rally behind some of these guys that are getting in the spotlight pretty early on.
And Roman Anthony, I mean, that's a guy, like you said, for the diehard fans and for anyone. Boston is such a baseball-rich city. Like, you don't have to be a diehard to hear about these prospects because that's just how smart you have to be a Sox fan and just how much a city loves to talk about the Sox. It goes in their farm system, not just the Bigs. But Roman Anthony, along with him, Marcelo Mayer, along with Kyle Teal, these are the guys we kept hearing their names come up time and time again. Now, looking at Baseball America, the Sox have 4 of the top 25 prospects on that. Roman Anthony 1. Marcelo Mayer at 10, Christian Campbell at 24, Kyle Teal, the catcher, at 25. So you have the big 3 in there along Christian Campbell. I mean, the Sox were ahead of schedule what they did this season. They're still just outside the wild card race. So see if they could get in. But a big part was rebuilding this farm system. And guys like Roman Anthony, I mean, with Ceddanne Rafaela and Jarren Duran, like that's the future of the outfield and the future of the defense for the Red Sox, which I think is great.
Yeah, I think some people are saying, hey, maybe we'll see him in 2025. I don't know. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but it could be pretty exciting. And like you said, it's cool for us to see this rebuilding of the Boston Red Sox.
He could be up in the bigs before he's 21. We'll see. And I mean, his ETA, when you look at like certain prospect websites, they have him 2025, but it varies from like early to late. And some guys were expected to arrive this season. They didn't. Whenever you get them, you should want the timing to be right. It's just big news for the Red Sox. Hey, they could say like, number one player in all of MILB. We got him. The NFL, you see the numbers from their opening weekend, averaged 21 million viewers per game during the league's opening week. Most watched week 1 on record. That's impressive. We see these numbers come out, and we'll see how much they include the streaming and all that. But you had Thursday night, which was a great game between the Chiefs and the Ravens. Friday night, you had that Peacock to watch, but great game between the Packers and Eagles. Sunday night was all thrillers. Monday night, another thriller too. I mean, it was from start to finish. I'm not surprised by this number entirely.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like a full week of football. It was like, okay, week 1, boom, like took up your whole week. So it was awesome. And I think some of that, right, has to do with we're playing the Chiefs. The Chiefs are playing Thursday night. Everybody's talking about Taylor, right? I think that definitely brought a little bit more viewership into the conversation. But I think that's awesome, too, because it creates more love and more support around football in the NFL. Not that there isn't already a ton. But the Chiefs president actually was asked, like, hey, before this game, hey, like, how are you guys going to handle Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce in that relationship and how that has blown up this season, which I thought was so funny to have that be in an interview question. Like,
for an owner?
Right. How are you going to handle this? It's like, wow, this is really a topic of discussion, but he handled it so well, and I was impressed by his answer. He basically just said, hey, like, we in no way want to exploit this relationship. We don't want to use it for our own gain, but we want to follow along and go along with the hype that it's given this fan base and that shared experience that everyone can enjoy celebrating the Chiefs in.
I think it's smart because obviously you don't want to ignore it. And from like a business standpoint, it's smart. Like, hey, we're lucky enough. We have one of the best tight ends in the game, one of the best tight ends to ever play the game, and he's dating one of the biggest stars in the world. So from the business perspective, you want to lean into it. But what's great with like Taylor Swift is how she supports like local businesses in Kansas City in the area. What she wears, everyone wants to wear and sell out. Definitely that Thursday night is that Swiftie audience that chimes in. Are you a Swiftie? Have we ever...
I don't want to.
Don't be ashamed to say it. I wouldn't hate.
Because I know I'm going to be tagged. No, I love Taylor Swift. I think she's incredibly talented. I don't know all her songs, so I don't know if to be a Swiftie you have to know all her songs.
Yeah.
But I have gone to a ton of her concerts. I haven't been to the Eras Tour.
Okay.
So if anyone has Eras Tour tickets, please,
Hit
I
up
know
AB.
it's ending soon. Please let me know. So I support Taylor Swift. I think she's awesome. But I don't know if I'm well versed enough in her music to be called a Swiftie.
You and I are the same. We're Swiftie lights.
Swiftie
I'm
lights.
a lighter
I'll be a
Swiftie light than you.
You're
I
a
just
lighter
like
Swiftie
Evermore.
light.
I've never been to a concert. You've been to multiple. In my mind, you're a Swiftie.
This is my one problem. When I was growing up, my very first Taylor Swift concert, I think it was her Speak Now tour. I was so excited. We were living in Nashville, Tennessee at the time, and my whole family went. I'm the oldest child, so obviously, like, I probably care the most. My brother and sister fall asleep at the concert. Don't ask me how.
Yep.
I have no idea. If you've fallen asleep at a concert before, that's crazy. We ended up having to leave early because they fell asleep.
Oh.
And me being the oldest child, it was heart-wrenching. So hopefully I'll get to go to the Eras Tour and be there for the full experience.
You bully your younger siblings because of that, or no?
No,
All right, you're a good sister then.
No, I couldn't. They were still asleep at that point, so I
I'm
didn't have the
talking like
chance.
weeks, months, years following.
Yeah.
Good on you to be nice to them. I see this number 2 though, and I love seeing it. I love the growing fan base of the NFL, but also it hurts because Amazon Prime, Apple, Peacock, whatever, Netflix, whatever comes in the fold, it's also going to make it harder to watch football because the NFL sees these numbers and then they sell games to those independent streamers and networks. That's how the owners make a lot of money. That's where you have to pay more to see. So that's one thing that hurts. Like, I'm happy to see the fan base grow, but I think what's important for it to grow to this point is the accessibility of the NFL. Red Zone, ESPN, NBC, the Sunday night, Monday night, even Thursday night. So I hope it doesn't make the price keep going up on football. I love my sport, but it's getting expensive.
We got to go to all these sports bars now, and all the restaurants are going to have the games on.
I know.
That's going to be the only way to see it.
Support local business. I wouldn't hate on that. We normally what's trending, we go through, what's trending through news, but we have to go with what's trending just right now. Have you seen, now, if you guys are listening, I'm breaking out a Coca-Cola can, but it's Oreo Coca-Cola. I'll pour a cup for you, AB. Have you seen or tried any of this yet?
No, not at all. And I saw you had it in the office when I walked in, so I'm super excited about this. I wasn't allowed to have soda. I could only have soda that was clear growing up. So
your parents are very smart.
My parents are strict on the soda thing. So
did you get to drink Gatorade growing up, like red or blue?
I could drink, Gatorade all the time.
Red 40 is kind of scary now that you read about it. That's why I say it.
I don't want to.
But my parents let me drink. I drink Gatorade or soda now. All right, so we're gonna try Oreo Coca-Cola. I've never tried it before. Cheers. Let's see.
It's like chocolate. It was smelled like chocolate.
There isn't anything crazy. I loved vanilla. I was like you. I didn't drink a lot of soda growing up. Love vanilla Coke. Love it. Kind of tastes like vanilla Coke. There's no Oreo.
I got no Oreo, but
Aftertaste.
Okay, I haven't gotten that yet. I got the smell. Definitely smells like Oreo, but it's not. It doesn't taste like Oreo.
Oreos are my favorite cookie too. What's your favorite? Chips Ahoy?
I don't know if I would. You call it Oreo a cookie?
It's not a sandwich.
This has got to be another. I would never in my life consider an Oreo
a sandwich.
No, Oreo is like its own thing.
It's a cookie.
No, okay. We'll have to make this like a poll or something.
Is an Oreo a cookie?
It's an Oreo.
Definitely not. At least you didn't call it a sandwich. But it's my favorite cookie. I'm a cola guy over Pepsi growing up.
Okay.
So this is a nice marriage.
It's pretty good. Honestly, it's pretty good, but Oreo is only the smell.
Yeah. I'm not going to be drinking too much soda.
I don't know
either.
if I want the carbonation while we're talking.
I know. That's what I'm worried about right now. I burp enough as is just eating with some carbonation in me. I apologize to our listeners, especially our listeners if they hear it. But if you hear me cut myself off, that means I'm burping.
I'm going to get really loud there.
Apparently there is a movie coming out too. I don't know who's involved, but it will be the cola wars of either Coca-Cola trying to usurp Pepsi as the king or the vice versa on that.
Like in an animation or a
No,
documentary?
actual movie. Real people.
Oh, wow.
Kind of like there was a McDonald's movie. That's an interesting story to me.
I have not seen this McDonald's movie.
I keep drinking it. I like it. I did not think I would like that at all. That sounds awful.
It's a small can, and we both got it. We got a solid amount.
I think that's enough soda for me for the month too.
Zero sugar. What are other things?
Yeah, but when you go zero sugar, that doesn't mean good for the rest because whatever makes it sweet is bad for you.
True.
Carbonated water, caramel color, Oh, there we go. Can't pronounce that. Acid. Can't pronounce that. Can't pronounce that. Can't pronounce that. Yeah, it's not good for you.
Acid. Can't pronounce that.
That's if you see sodium citrate. That's fine. It was acetylphane potassium. No, I'll have a can once a month, maybe.
Once a month. That's
yeah,
good.
and that's any chance we had of landing Coke as a partner. Apologies, but I love the drink. I'll say that for anything that's colored like this. Again, your parents are smart of like only clear soda growing up. Let's get into it. Thursday night football kicking off tonight. Bills at Dolphins. I'm trying to fight off the soda already. This is an exciting game. I mean, we look on week one. Obviously, you were locked in for the Seahawks, and obviously, you were watching your Patriots as well, and doing the same of preparing for this game. But those two games were thrillers. A lot of weird football happened, especially the Seahawks. Interceptions, the safeties, all that, right? For the Bills to fend off the Cardinals, especially at the end, kick return touchdown they had to fight off, the Dolphins had to come back in their home stadium after everything Tyreek Hill went through. There's going to be fireworks anytime these two offenses match up. I'm excited for the star power and to see what Josh Allen, Tua, Tyreek Hill all do. This is a very exciting matchup, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree. It's going to be a very high-scoring game. And just like you said, these offenses, they're going to go to battle. And I think it's fun to watch Josh Allen play. It's kind of like he's running around at recess. And there was like an anonymous poll at some point recently. It was like, Josh Allen's the most overrated QB. And that, like, crazy. That's trash. Yeah. We all know he is very good. I think he's won like 63-30. Like, that's been his like record overall for games in the NFL, which is amazing. So, like, just excited to watch him go off and these two really fun offenses and quarterbacks.
I think it's when people try to put him in that quarterback box. So they try to see like a pocket passer. But the position has evolved so much. Where guys that move like him, guys that move like Lamar Jackson, guys that we'll see move like Anthony Richardson, like those are quarterbacks. I guess it's just, I think it's hating to say he's overrated. He showed it. He accounted for all 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 passing, had to basically like jump over a defender on one of those to get into the end zone. Injured his left hand, was wrapped up, but is playing Thursday night. He's fine. He just does so much, and he continues to drive that entire offense. No matter, one of the defining traits of a great quarterback is no matter who the receivers are, do they still thrive? Do they still perform well? That's Josh Allen. That's what we're going to see from him this season with no more Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis there and a young, less experienced core for him to throw to. So, yeah, that overrated thing, it's just, I like said that, I'm like, that's hating. You watch him, he keeps him in every game. And also the knock he gets on the hero ball he plays. In the playoffs, 21 touchdowns to 3 interceptions over his career in the postseason. Like, that's what you want from anyone. So
that's
he's
an
proven
awesome
to be
stat.
Great. That's
a legit stat.
Boil it down, even if you don't need him to be Superman. You know, it's about protecting the football and playing winning football in this too. And what would be cool too is to see Tua in prime time against this Bills defense, because Tua Tagovailoa, since he's been in the league, very polarizing. Got that huge contract extension this offseason, as did Trevor Lawrence, as did Jordan Love. But that's a guy that's continually knocked of, doesn't win the big game, is a system quarterback. We've said it in the past on other shows like Foxborough Rush. We've spoken to guys that cover him down in Miami. Yeah, Tua could be a system quarterback, but he runs that system at such a high, such an elite level. I don't know if anyone can run it as well as him. So I'd be fine with being a system quarterback if it puts me in that fast offense of what the Dolphins have, you know, AB?
Totally. And Mike McDonald, like, wizard, right? So it's going to be exciting to see what they come up with for this game. One of the fastest offenses, too, with Hill. And just all the emotion that team has going on right now. Like, it's going to be a really exciting game to watch on the field and off the field aspects, right? And so just excited to see how they can use that to benefit them on the field.
I'm interested how the Dolphins defense does look. Like Jalen Ramsey, he had a weird hamstring injury. There was a holdout, agreed to his extension. All of a sudden, hamstring's gone. But then he was getting burned by the Jaguars receivers week 1. Okay, so matching up with the Bills' just passing attack that can be downhill heavy, and Josh Allen can't throw it, how do they target Jalen Ramsey? And on the reverse, I mean, this is a Bills secondary that's being rebuilt as they go, like week by week. So when you're playing Tyreek Hill and Jaden Waddle, like against Tua and this offense, like that's going to be a tough matchup. And 2, for the Dolphins, we'll see how they look. Raheem Mostert's already been ruled out with a chest injury. Devon Achane, he's game time decision with his ankle, but sounds like he'll play. All right, they got the rookie in Jalen Wright that they got out of Tennessee. That is so fast, 200 pounds. How do they fare? And both offensive lines have been up and down over the years and over the season. Like, there it is, Coca-Cola. I fought it off. No one had to hear it.
I didn't even notice. You're good.
No one, they've been so up and down of can they hold up against, especially with Jalen Phillips on the Dolphins side. Like, that's a good defensive line. It's interesting to see these games, AB, because we're only one game into the season, very small sample size. And everyone knows who you are week 1, week 2, week 4, week 7 is not who you are week 15, 16, 17 and the postseason, which these teams have those aspirations. But there could be such heavy divisional implications on this because you go back over the last 4 years, it's been Bills or Dolphins that have won the AFC East. I love these early season matchups like this between two teams that can easily win the division and two teams that could be there late in the AFC playoffs too,
Yeah, I think that is exactly spot on because we can't put all this pressure on, if whoever wins or loses, like that's it for the season. But it could be, like you said, it could be the tiebreaker. To settle this thing. So super interested to see. And just someone that I wanted to highlight, we were talking a little bit about this before, Mac Hollins, the most interesting guy
he is
on the Bills. The Bills posted, or somebody posted a video of him celebrating after the win last week of him. Oh yeah, here it is. Putting M&Ms in a water bottle. And even though this is really interesting, this guy walks around barefoot all the time. I don't think he uses utensils. I'm kind of rooting for him. He had his first, I think he scored for the first time since like 2022.
He had a touchdown on
last
Sunday.
Game. So even though he's a little interesting, maybe he's getting some backlash for this. I personally wouldn't drink this. I'm excited to watch him during this matchup and rooting that he can score his second touchdown.
So M&M's in the water gives you chocolate water. That's what he does. I've never heard of this before.
I've never heard of it. It could just be for publicity. I don't know.
Maybe it's his way of, all right, so now, I might have ticked off Coke by me saying their ingredients aren't good. Milk, like if you're lactose intolerant like myself and like you really shouldn't have been drinking milk, like whole milk even, I guess it's a way to have chocolate milk, but like not, pay the consequences of having actual dairy.
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess, again, hey, I would have never tried Oreo Coca-Cola. I ended up loving it. I think I have to try this now before I knock it.
Okay. Yeah.
You wouldn't? Would you try it?
If you're trying it, I will try it because I don't want to knock it as well if I haven't given it a try. But also, like, post-win feeling, you're feeling good, you got some adrenaline. Hey, maybe I'll toss some M&Ms
water.
Chocolate water. I can't imagine that I didn't do this as a kid when I got M&Ms and I had my water bottle. I can't imagine that I didn't do that, so...
I did do the...
Props to him.
I loved Skittles, but I would take the sour Skittles, put them in water. They would lose the sour.
So you did the same thing.
I would scoop them out with a spoon, eat the Skittles like that, and then I would drink the sour water.
That's very intentional and like interesting.
Are me and Mac Hollins basically the same person?
I think that's pretty similar to what he just did.
If it tastes like chocolate and I love chocolate, like I'm all for it then at that point.
Okay, well... If we had a video of you doing that, it would definitely be up on the screen right now.
I haven't done that. I'm 30. I have not done that confidently, I can say, since I was like probably 10.
You might be the only one as well.
That's ever tried
that.
Yeah, that's probably like psycho behavior. I promise I turned out all right. We also had a fun conversation. We caught up with Drew Kendall, senior captain, center for Boston College football. So check out our conversation with Drew. He's Drew Kendall, starting center for Boston College, captain of the BC Eagles. Hopping on the chat. You see how excited my co-host AB is to have a fellow Eagle on with us. Drew, what's up, man? How we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing awesome. Love seeing you guys off to this 2-0 start, getting it to the top 25, ranked number 24 in the country. The obvious question everyone is asking you is like, what's it been like? Week 1, the upset at Florida State, night game under the lights. They were number 10 in the country. Then week 2 to improve to 2-0. But when I ask what this has been like, I want to hear from the captain, center of an offensive line and an offense that has just run the ball over every single defense you guys have faced so far.
Yeah, it's been great so far. I mean, we couldn't have predicted as good of a start. This is awesome. This is exactly where we want to be. But right now we're all just focused on getting better every day. And it starts with practice. We practiced this morning. It's just how can we be better than we were the week before? It's just all about improvement and then just focusing on the opponent ahead.
Drew, I want to ask you about the first Eagle walk. First home game. Was that different from years in the past? Did it feel like there was a new sense of energy around campus? I know they had the super fan shirts, and I was so jealous because I'd always wanted to get one of those, and I never could. So they brought them back the year that I left. So I actually texted my sister Mallory, who's a senior at Boston College, and said, "Do you have a super fan shirt I can wear on the show today? I'm talking to Drew." She's like, "Oh, I don't think I have one." I was like, "How do you not have one?" So was it different that first Eagle Walk?
Yeah, it was awesome. All the fans showed out and they were all cheering us on. The Eagle Walk's awesome. I always get to see my mom before the game, give her a big hug. But yeah, all the fans were out there cheering us on. It was just an awesome environment, and hopefully it stays that way for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it was great to see you guys home opener, play Duquesne, beat them 56-0, and also rush for over 300 yards in that game. Everyone sees this jump in the offense. I mean, you guys are running the ball with authority, and we know the Superman behind you, Thomas Castellanos, he's going from being a guy that plays in system and in rhythm. Like we see an offense that's on schedule. We see Bill O'Brien's fingerprints all over this. But breaking away from like the scheme of it all, what stuck out to you learning from Bill O'Brien so far as he's now taken over in the Heights?
A lot. I mean, he's super knowledgeable, as you know. He's coached Super Bowl winners in the past, national championship winners. So just being able to learn from him and just learning like his offensive mind as a center, it's helped me immensely. He's coached many great centers. So just learning the football aspect, like the X's and O's and how I can improve, but also how to become a better leader of the team as a captain. He preaches leadership, and I think that's what's really been able to take us to that next level. We've got a lot of good leaders on the team, and just making sure that no one gets too high, no one gets too low. We're all just trying to stay focused and get better every day.
Drew, you mentioned Tommy. How have you seen Tommy grow as a leader, maybe commanding just the huddle from last season to this season? You know, coming in, new student to Boston College. There's a lot of other things going on. How have you seen his growth just in this early first 2 games of the season?
Yeah, it's night and day. Coach O'Brien's done a great job of kind of just taking him under his wing, both like getting him better as a quarterback, which is clearly seen on the field, and then as a leader as well. The quarterback position is really important, and it comes with a lot of responsibility, both as in like taking care of the ball, but also like demanding the huddle and getting us all ready and getting us moved on from whatever play happened to the next play. So Tommy's grown so much, and he's just an incredible player. The play's never dead with him. So making sure we're sticking onto our blocks a little bit longer and let him make some magic back there.
Drew, I love hearing like there's the maturity, there's the humility you guys have in this of you've been so successful through 2 weeks, but you're still like, hey, it's getting better game by game, practice by practice, day by day. What stands out to you about the locker room that you guys have and the unity of this team where, you know, your mission is to start out 2-0, but the way you do it, it doesn't just happen. You know, there is buying in practice, buying in film, and then buying in as a brotherhood. So what has stood out to you about the growth of this locker room for you?
Yeah, I mean, we went through a hard time this past winter when our coach decided to take another opportunity, which we were all happy for him. It was a great opportunity for him. But, you know, it kind of put us in a difficult position where we didn't really know what was going on. And, you know, kind of the older guys on the team, we were like, hey, we know what we have here. Let's stick together. We all did. No one decided to leave. And then just really embracing the new opportunity we had with Coach O'Brien, understanding that he's a great football coach and that he could take us to where we wanted to get to if we all just bought in on what he was telling us to do. So I would just say it started all the way back in the winter. Coming in, the new winter conditioning program and summer conditioning was different, something we weren't used to, but I think that played a massive role into where we are now. But yeah, it all starts with the older guys on the team really just making sure we're giving a hand to the younger guys, offering that help, and just making sure everyone's on the same page.
Drew, looking ahead to this next Missouri game, who is an unsung hero on this Boston College football team that's maybe not getting the credit that they deserve? And maybe it's someone who plays, maybe it's someone who doesn't play, but who's someone coming from you, captain of this Boston College football team, who would you say BC football fans should be looking out for?
Carter Davis, safety of the BC defense, has been playing unbelievable, both on defense and then on special teams as well. Making plays, showing he's a big energy guy, high energy, all around the football. So shout out to Carter. He's been doing a great job for us so far.
I love that. We have a guy on offense. He can shout out his running backs. He can shout out his tackles, whoever. He goes to the safety. He knows how important it is. It's been fun seeing Carter Davis and Kerry Johnson work in that secondary for you guys. And we know they have such a big task ahead of them facing this Missouri offense that's led by Luther Burden, one of the best wide receivers. What jumps out to you about this Missouri defense, though? Because through 2 weeks, they haven't allowed a single point. So what is something you guys watch on film that jumps out where they excel and that's a challenge you look forward to?
Yeah, I mean, they're a tough defense. They swarm the ball. They play physical. And we understand that it's going to take all we got down there. And it's not going to be any easy task. Like you said, they haven't given up any points yet. But, it's just a great opportunity for us to showcase what we have on offense. And we're looking forward to the challenge. It's a great opportunity for us. It's exactly where we want to be. So I'm really excited for this Saturday to see how everything shakes out.
Drew, does the offensive line at Boston College have a motto, a phrase, or something that you guys have really gotten behind? I know maybe last year you guys were listening to heavy metal in the locker room, which was so funny to me because Ozzy Trapillo doesn't really ring me as a heavy metal guy. But is there something that you guys say as a group that kind of brings you back, or the mentality that you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, we always break it down on For the Boys. That's our it started back before us, but yeah. So that's what we break it down on. I feel like that's always been the thing at BC for the offensive line. I think it just kind of sends the message of like, we're all doing this for each other. It's not about yourself, and you never want to let the guy down next to you. So every play, you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the guy next to you.
I mean, you guys play on Saturdays after all, so that's perfect. Did Ozzy pick up? I know he's a big John Mayer guy on the guitar. Did he pick up any like Ozzy Osbourne or anything with all the heavy metal you guys have been listening to?
He might have. I'm not sure. We got to get him on that.
We look back at that week 1 win, and I think what was so cool was it's in Tallahassee. That was a team coming off a loss, so you know what the desperation would be like for the Seminoles. It's under the lights. The nation is watching, and you guys rose to the occasion. What does a win like that in that setting do to boost your confidence moving forward? Again, now going into a matchup where you're in Columbus, Saturday afternoon kickoff at Faurot Field, taking on a really good Mizzou team.
Yeah, I mean, going into that game, we all had a belief that we could go in there and win. We knew it was going to be a challenge, but, just us all coming together and taking the game just one play at a time. Whatever happened that last play, it happened. You can't get it back. We can't, it's each play has a life of its own. So just understanding that and being able to move on from a big play or, maybe a tackle for loss, whatever happened, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. It's now about the next play. And how are we going to, go do our job on this next play? So just taking it as like a day-by-day, play-by-play approach, I think that's really helped us in, just continuing this momentum that we have right now and, just bringing us into this next game.
Drew, I know you probably don't want to do this, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to shout yourself out in a sense. What have you seen change from your game last year? No, you don't want me to ask you this, but what have you seen the biggest growth in your game from last year to this season, and maybe just having a new coaching staff, having different teammates to pour into you? What have you seen been the biggest difference in your experience from last season to this season?
I would probably just say reps. Like, I'm now a more experienced player. I've seen a lot of different things happen within a game. So just being able to rely on my training and rely on my rules. The game has really slowed down for me. So that's helped me a lot, especially on some third downs and some plays where the defense might try and throw us off. Just being able to see the field better, I think, is where I've grown the most.
Hey, got to shout out AB. Getting an offensive lineman to talk about himself is one of the toughest things to do. But I love that assessment, Drew. But also for you, how amazing has this journey been for you to do it alongside Ozzy? You and Ozzy Trapillo growing up together, playing youth football, obviously getting to BC together. How special has this journey, this experience been to do it with your brothers that are your teammates, but someone that's literally grown up to be like a brother to you?
Yeah, it's been really special. We actually went to different high schools, so for a little bit we weren't as close as we used to be. So it's been really cool to just kind of get back to where, like, what we used to been, just being super close, and just getting here and being on the offensive line has really helped not only us, but the entire unit just mesh together. So it's been a lot of fun. Ozzy's a great player, and I love going to work with him every day.
Yeah, Andy. Sorry, I meant Drew. Someone named Ozzy Trillo potentially, probably shouldn't have name dropped him. But why is the O-line calling you Andy right now?
I don't know. They love it. I don't know why. They think I get mad about it, but it's short for Andrew, so Andy, Andrew.
Okay,
but,
so nothing bad.
Drew,
it's just part of your name.
No. Yeah, exactly. They just like to mess with me.
Well, as you get older, now that you're a grad student, some people's names change. You could go, Will to William. Okay, so here you go. Right. You're going Drew to Andy. It's a little different, but just because you're getting older, that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, they're just trying to have fun with me.
They wouldn't be your teammates and your best friends if they weren't trying to mess with you. I mean, that's a tough love that you need. Hey, Drew, I want to end with this one. Also, speaking about what you've gone through to have this journey, this experience with Ozzy, but also what's it like to get the feedback, the coaching, and also just get that support from your dad, Steve, who played at BC, who played in the NFL, who I'm sure is a huge, part of your success for how much he can help you on and off the field.
Yeah, it's awesome. I talk to him all the time, post game, before games, just going through the film. I mean, he's my biggest supporter and also my biggest critic at times. But I mean, it's great. I need someone like that in my corner, that's willing to tell me the truth, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. It only helps me grow as a player and as a person. So it's been awesome. He's the best. So I love being able to talk football with him, which has kind of been my whole life. It's been great.
Hey, doing it from when you were growing up to doing it to now. Drew, appreciate you taking the time to come on the chat. Best of luck this Saturday at Missouri. It's awesome to see BC not just ranked, but you guys just being in the fabric of football in this area. AB, I'll let you send Drew off. You got a message. You wanted to hype him up with something, because I know you're itching. You're itching to give him some support and some motivation.
Eagles on a warpath, Drew. You guys know what to do. Let's go.
Yep.
Hey, I love this. Drew, thanks again for taking the time, man. Best of luck. Go give him hell on Saturday.
Thank you, guys.
Drew is awesome. Also love that. So those that didn't know, texting AB before we do the interview, I go, hey, we have Drew Kendall from BC. Hop on if you want. She's like, Drew's one of my best friends from BC. I want to surprise him. And he knew there was he heard, I was like, oh, Drew, we're just getting settled. I have a surprise. We have someone else that's here for you. And then he goes, I think I heard him.
I know. I'm so bummed. I totally botched that. I walked right in with my bag, my big water bottle.
We're talking.
And I did notice he kind of smiled. I was like, oh, there's Drew. But did not realize that he probably could hear me. So, Drew, I'm sorry. I wanted to surprise you. But it's all good. It was so fun talking to him. Yeah. Just so excited for Drew Kendall and the Boston College football team. I mean, it is so cool to go to school when your football team is doing well. It just changes the entire atmosphere on campus. And these guys have put in a lot of hard work, and they've gone through a lot of hard things throughout, even Drew's short time at Boston College. I think 3.5 years he's been there now, maybe 4. 4 years. He's grad student now. But yeah, I mean, just so happy for them, so excited, and cheering on the Eagles.
I loved that you asked him what the motto is. He just goes, the boys.
For the boys.
Yeah, breaks it down for the boys. And I just like his answers of, he's so typical offensive lineman. Like I said, and he laughed, but was like, won't talk about himself, points out the defense. But you can tell how much this season means to him. And obviously a guy that's been there, early enrolled 2021, but been there, built up. And he pointed it out too, to go through a head coach leaving. They were happy for Jeff Hafley to go to the Packers. There's that unknown. And Bill O'Brien comes in. It could be a big personality. But to hear how he's taken over that program so far and building up that culture, or more of improving it, it's cool to hear from a guy like Drew Kendall to point out what they've seen going down at the Heights,
Definitely. And just to see the chemistry and the trust and the relationship that those guys have built, even just on the offensive line. When you're willing to go to battle for someone else and you're willing to push a running back the extra mile or when you're tired, keep running down the field to make a block. That's what this Boston College football team is doing right now. And Drew even said it is for the boys. Like, I'm fighting for my teammate. And so just excited for this Boston College team, because when that's your attitude and that's your mentality, it is very dangerous and it's very hard to stop.
I mean, they got confidence oozing. Also, I have to point out, you said the best thing when you're going to a football school. As a proud alum of Seton Hall, every Saturday, me and my friends would be watching whatever college football games across the country. And we'd say, my biggest regret is that I didn't go to a school with a football team, let alone a good football team. So I'm very jealous.
Well, you know what? It's up and down, always. It's always, college football is always up and down. But this year, we are up. We're looking up. So I'm so excited.
As an adopted Badgers fan, because I lived in Madison for a couple of years, I was like, all right, fine. I'll embrace them. Yeah, it's a lot of up and down, especially with the Badgers still. Hey, check out the latest episode of Foxborough Rush, available YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime, wherever you get your podcast. Special episode, too. I mean, talk about BC Eagles being up on Nesson this week. Mark Herzlich stopped by. Mark Herzlich, who is a All-American at BC, Super Bowl champion with the Giants, lived in New Jersey at one point, and also found out he's my neighbor in Charlestown. Awesome having him on. That guy is great. I know you know Mark Herzlich. Was always a good dude. You could see. I interned for the Giants when I was a sophomore in college, and that was 2013, so his second, third season. Super awesome guy always. The full circle moment to work with him, and you guys will hear it in that interview. He loves talking ball, but very genuine. Like, you can just tell he genuinely loves it, and he's just a fun person to work with,
It's so awesome. Mark and his wife, Danielle, run the athlete Bible study at Boston College every Monday night. And so he and his wife have really, both alumni from Boston College, just taking it upon them to say, hey, we're back in Boston. We're going to really invest in this athletic community. And for Mark, even specifically the football team, I know that that's a program that he has really poured into as well, just player-to-player relationships. So just for me as a Boston College alum, it's cool to know that your football team has people, and your other athletes have people who are older than them, who have wisdom, who are coming back on their own time to really pour into and encourage the student athletes at Boston College. It's an awesome thing.
I loved hearing the connection he still has. Like, he just dropped it very casually. He's like, I was in Bill O'Brien's office. I was talking what his vision is, and to see how involved he still is with the program after being done, I think 2009. Yeah, it was his last season there. So Mark was awesome. Check out that episode. You guys will love the convo. We had Keegan Stiefel on that as well, and Will Manso of Miami to give us a perspective. Another Thursday Night Football look there. So let's get into, let's look at the Pats. Early reports from their practice on Wednesday. City So was not at practice. So that top offensive line, AB, looks like it'll still be Chuks Okorafor at left tackle, so we think. Or it'll be Vidarian Lowe at left tackle, Michael Jordan at left guard, David Andrews at center, Layden Robinson at right guard, Mike Onwenu at right tackle. That group ran for a ton of yards on a Bengals defense that was last season awful against the run. This Seahawks D-line, this Seahawks defense led by Mike McDonald is serious. This is when I get worried of City So is a good guard. You want your best guys and your best five out there. I'm interested to see how this offensive line can fare against the Seahawks, who are led by Boye Mafe, Leonard Williams, and, of course, Byron Murphy as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is my team. I was in Seattle all summer, so I'm excited to watch Mike McDonald and his defense go up against the Patriots. Like you said, though, Boye, Byron Murphy, and even Leonard Williams, those are all guys that really put pressure on Bo Nix last week against the Broncos. And there were a lot of almosts in that game, a lot of almost sacks, a lot of almost interceptions. And I know that's something the guys in the back are, thinking about and on it. Even though we had two interceptions in that game, Reek Wallen and Julian Love, that's something that the Seattle Seahawks defense is looking to get done this game. They are looking to get it done, and they kept the Seahawks in the game. They really kept them alive. Their first half, like you said, we had 2 safeties in the first half. That's like
to overcome,
unheard of, right? But it was a Seattle Seahawks defense led by Mike McDonald that really kept them alive. And even Geno Smith was like, yeah, they were the only reason we stayed in that game. That's what he said post game. But super excited to watch this matchup. These guys are looking to change those almost into execution. Tyrell Dodson is walking around with a tennis ball all week before the Broncos-Seahawks game, because I think it was Devin Witherspoon was on him about, hey, you got to catch those interceptions. You got to catch them. So he's like, hand-eye coordination. So this is a group and this is a defense they're holding each other accountable. Yeah. They're really diving into relationships, and kind of like Boston College, when you have that connection and that bond, it's really hard to stop.
It's exciting to see this Sunday too. Also, City So's not practice for the Patriots. Kenneth Walker, George Fant, they're day-to-day right now. We'll see what their projection looks like when it comes to Sunday. And Uchenna Owusu sounds like he's already been ruled out as well. Like, key guys on the Seahawks side too. But it's also just the meeting of the styles of these teams that mirror each other. Like, we had Brady Henderson on earlier in the week from ESPN, and he was like, they're going to win by putting pressure on the quarterback. They're going to play tough with their corners. They're going to disguise and confuse the opposing QB. And on offense, they're going to run the ball. And everything he was saying, I'm like, this is literally the Patriots and Gerard Mayo. So that's what makes this matchup to me very exciting. And it is. It sounds old school. And it sounds simple, but I think what it boils down to is who wins at the line of scrimmage. Like, the Patriots dominated the Bengals, both sides of the ball. Joe Burrow's never comfortable, but what Geno Smith has the upside is he's really good at moving in the pocket, resetting the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, and not just ducking and running. But he can make plays happen with his feet, like that 30-yard rushing touchdown. So how does this defensive line match up with the Seahawks? How do they deal with Geno moving? And then on the opposite side of it, this offensive line for the Patriots, how do they take on a really good defensive line from the Seahawks? This Seahawks defense, they have the talent. Like, Witherspoon's one of the best corners in the league. Tariq Woolen can get back to what he was a few years ago and be great as well. But up front, outside of when Justin Love at safety, like, Mike McDonald will elevate all their games. So that's where this is a real test. Like, going against a defense, the Patriots offense played winning football. This is when you really earn your stripes of Ramondre Stevenson. Can that O-line get it done against the Seahawks front, you know?
Yeah, and the Seahawks, totally different team from the first half and the second half in their week one game with the Broncos. But they made an adjustment. They came into the locker room. Mike McDonald, Geno, Spoon, everyone was saying no one flinched. No one blinked an eye. We kept our poise. And that's how they were able to make an adjustment, start running the football. Their O-line started to improve. And that's hard when you have two safeties in a game. Like, your self-confidence has got to go down. You got to be like, what the heck's going on? This never happens in NFL football games to have two safeties in one half. But they pulled it together. They were strong, mentally tough. And that's what a lot of the players were saying post-game. They're like, yeah, Mike McDonald prepared us for these hard moments. Devin Witherspoon was saying, and Tyrell Dodson, really all of them, Reek Woolen, were saying, hey, we had to play back to back to back to back, ton of stops, but we were able to do it because McDonald put us in those situations all throughout training camp, all throughout those practices. So they have a lot of swag, but we really got to see if this offense can keep their momentum.
And it will be for the Seahawks defense to match up. Like, Jacoby Brissett's a vet, been there, done that, knows how to make smart plays. He's not going to make those rookie mistakes we saw from Bo Nix, forcing throws downfield when he decided to challenge downfield, running out of bounds when he's trying to extend a bootleg. But it's also Boye Mafe making that play too, of his speed chasing him down. So that's where, for both sides, and it's a big read on these two rookie coaches as well. Mike McDonald coming from the Ravens as a DC, taking over for Seattle. And then for Gerard Mayo, obviously elevated from being one of the de facto defensive coordinators with the Patriots, now up as head coach for the Pats as well. Two franchises with a rookie coach replacing a longtime legend, the best head coach of the respective franchises, and for Belichick, the greatest head coach of all time. But two rookie coaches, you see the imprints they have and what they've done so far to get their teams on track. That's why Sunday, it's going to be a boxing match pretty much. I think it's going to be a lot of scoring, and it's just going to be where you have to play that smart, disciplined football. And it's kind of like who gets tired first, where the Patriots, their conditioning shined. But I think for the Seahawks, what helps them is they come off that weird game against the Broncos. Stuff hits a fan. They go, it's not worse than last week. We can't put ourselves in a bigger hole than we did last week.
Right, and I think that was exactly the conversation. And Mike McDonald actually talked about that in his press conference today with media in Seattle. He was like, yeah, we just were like, well, it can't get any worse, so, like, now what, right? And I even had that experience in my college lacrosse career. Like, we were down so many times, and we were like, all right, well, it can't get any worse. And those were the games that we ended up winning, is because we had the experience of, oh my gosh, when you're in the ditch, what are you going to do? How are you going to get out of it? It's kind of that, like, survivor mentality. But just back to what you said, both of these new head coaches are 1-0, and to watch both of them get the game ball in the locker room and receive that. And we haven't really been taken into the Patriots locker room like that before.
I know.
Or at least I haven't seen a video of that.
Let
so that was
social
cool
media
for
go.
me. But just to have been in Seattle and watch Mike McDonald's training camp progression, and then just from afar for the Patriots, I'm excited for these two head coaches. Obviously, I would love to see the Seahawks come out 2-0 and support Mike McDonald, because that was my team this summer. But just excited for those coaches.
Win-win for you. It's either your hometown team where you went to high school and college, or it'll be your team you spent the summer with. So not bad.
True.
She's Annabelle Hasselbeck. I'm George Balekji. This was Boston has entered the chat in the PNC Bank studio. AB, appreciate you stopping by the studio. I'm excited. We got one more show this week together with you here in Watertown. So until then, we'll see you guys. But in the meantime, make sure like, subscribe, rate, review wherever you get your podcast. Go to Nesson's YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Same thing on Twitch as well. Till then, we'll see you guys.